Welcome back to Patriot Call, the channel where we expose the truth behind Hollywood's woke agenda. Today, we're diving deep into why Ryan Reynolds, the beloved star of Deadpool, is standing up against the woke culture that's been infiltrating Hollywood. And trust me, you don't want to miss this. So, why is Ryan Reynolds our hero in the fight against the woke agenda? It all started with the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine trailer. Reynolds, along with director Sean Levy and writers Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, decided to stand up against the Disney execs. They demanded creative control, ensuring that the trailer stayed true to the fans, and not the corporate agenda. Reynolds has always been a defender of authentic storytelling and pure entertainment, much like Henry Cavill. Remember the drama with Cavill and The Witcher? Same deal here, folks. Hollywood is trying to shove their DEI diversity, equity, and inclusion agenda down our throats, and Reynolds is having none of it. A little more background about the Henry Cavill drama. Cavill's portrayal of Geralt was praised by fans and critics alike. He brought depth, authenticity, and a fierce loyalty to the character and the source material, Andrzej Sapkowski's beloved novels. But behind the scenes, all was not well. Reports began to surface that Cavill was clashing with the showrunners over creative differences. The core of the conflict? Cavill's insistence on staying true to the books and the original vision of the story. In an industry increasingly dominated by the woke agenda, Cavill's dedication to the source material was seen as a rebellion against the trend of injecting contemporary social issues into beloved stories. Cavill, a self-professed fan of The Witcher books and games, reportedly pushed back against changes that he felt diluted the essence of the story and the characters. This didn't sit well with the show's executives, who were intent on inserting modern political and social themes into the narrative. Ultimately, these creative differences led to Cavill's departure from the series. The official line was that Cavill left to pursue other opportunities, but insiders suggest that the split was far from amicable. Netflix's decision to move in a different direction creatively was the final straw for Cavill. The backlash from fans was swift and intense. Petitions and social media campaigns erupted, calling for Cavill's return and criticizing the showrunners for straying from the source material. The fans' message was clear. They wanted the story they loved, not a reimagined woke version. This isn't the first time Cavill has faced challenges in Hollywood. His tenure as Superman was also marked by creative clashes, with fans again rallying behind him when he was ousted from the role. Cavill's commitment to his characters and the stories they inhabit sets him apart in an industry increasingly focused on appeasing social media trends and vocal minority groups. But anyway, back to Ryan Reynolds. Let's talk about the backlash. Universal Studios recently decided to part ways with Reynolds for Fast and Furious 11. Why? Because he wouldn't bow to their demands to push the DEI narrative in Deadpool 3. They didn't like that Reynolds was calling the shots and refused to promote the film on shows like The View and Good Morning America. But why would Reynolds, who excels in such settings, opt out of these platforms? Shows like The View and Good Morning America are staples in celebrity film promotion circuits. They boast massive audiences and significant influence. The answer lies in the growing intersection of entertainment and politics. Reynolds has become increasingly vocal about his opposition to the woke culture permeating Hollywood. These talk shows often prioritize social and political issues over pure entertainment, turning interviews into platforms for promoting specific agendas. For Reynolds, whose focus is on preserving the integrity of his films and storytelling, these environments are less about the movies and more about political grandstanding. Shows like The View have become notorious for their contentious and politically charged discussions. Guests are frequently expected to take a stand on hot-button issues, which can overshadow the promotion of their projects. Reynolds, who has publicly criticized the overreach of woke agendas in Hollywood, likely sees these appearances as counterproductive. By refusing to appear on these shows, Reynolds is making a statement. He's drawing a line between his work and the political noise that often dominates these platforms. It's a move that prioritizes the art of filmmaking over the spectacle of political debate. He prefers environments where the conversation centers on the craft of filmmaking, rather than being sidetracked by political agendas. This approach not only respects the audience's desire for genuine content, but also stays true to his principles. Fans have largely supported Reynolds' decision, appreciating his focus on storytelling over politics. Social media reactions have highlighted a growing fatigue with celebrities being pressured into political commentary during promotional tours. Reynolds' stance resonates with audiences who are tired of seeing their favorite stars navigate the minefield of woke culture instead of talking about their work. Moreover, Reynolds' refusal to engage with these shows can be seen as a broader critique of the media landscape. It's a call for a return to interviews that celebrate creativity and entertainment without the constant undercurrent of political agenda. This aligns with his overall pushback against the pervasive woke culture in Hollywood. This isn't just about one man against a corporation, it's about preserving the integrity of our entertainment. Hollywood is so wrapped up in their woke agenda that they're willing to sacrifice good storytelling for virtue signaling. And Ryan Reynolds is one of the few who dares to speak out. As we delve deeper into Hollywood's struggles with woke culture, it's impossible to ignore the broader impact on the American film industry. Woke America has increasingly been interfering with movies, reshaping narratives, and influencing the creative decisions that define our beloved films. Let's uncover how this cultural shift is impacting storytelling and what it means for the future of cinema. In recent years, we've seen a surge of movies that prioritize woke messaging over narrative integrity. Whether it's through forced diversity, altering beloved characters, or inserting overt political themes, Hollywood's commitment to woke culture is changing the way stories are told. This shift isn't just about inclusion, it's about reshaping entire narratives to fit a particular agenda. Take, for example, the recent Ghostbusters reboot or the latest Star Wars trilogy. These films were heavily criticized, not just for their lackluster storytelling, but for their blatant attempts to push a woke agenda. Characters were introduced and storylines altered to meet the demands of a vocal minority, often at the expense of the core narrative. Directors and writers have spoken out about the pressure to conform to these woke standards. Scripts are rewritten, characters are reimagined, and entire plot lines are adjusted to ensure that movies align with contemporary social expectations. This isn't about genuine representation, it's about ticking boxes and appeasing social media outrage. The impact of woke culture isn't just limited to the big screen, it affects the entire creative process. Studios are more concerned with avoiding backlash and gaining social media approval than with crafting compelling stories. This results in movies that feel inauthentic, disjointed, and ultimately unsatisfying for the audience. Social media plays a massive role in this dynamic. A small but vocal group can influence major studios with hashtags and online campaigns. Fear of being labeled as insensitive or outdated drives executives to make hasty, often misguided changes to beloved franchises and new projects alike. This isn't to say that diversity and representation aren't important, they absolutely are. But there's a difference between organically incorporating these elements and force-feeding them into every narrative. The latter approach not only undermines the story, but also patronizes the very audiences it's supposed to represent. Think back to the classics, movies that told powerful stories with diverse characters without feeling forced or contrived. Films like The Shawshank Redemption, The Godfather, and Pulp Fiction are celebrated not for their adherence to a social agenda, but for their compelling narratives and richly developed characters. What's at stake here is the very essence of filmmaking. When creativity is stifled by the need to conform to a woke checklist, we lose the magic that makes movies memorable. Filmmakers should have the freedom to tell their stories authentically, without being shackled by the fear of social media backlash. Interestingly, we're seeing a rise in independent films that push back against this trend. These films often gain popularity precisely because they offer something different: authenticity and a commitment to storytelling over social commentary. Reynolds, for instance, was supposed to be a major character in several Universal projects, including Fast and Furious spin-offs, and even the Super Mario Bros. Movie sequel. But all those deals fell through because he wouldn't toe the woke line. Warner Bros. And Legendary Pictures also dropped him from their upcoming projects after learning about his stand against Disney's DEI push. Despite all this, Reynolds is pushing forward. He's promoting his new movie with John Krasinski, If, and focusing on projects that align with his values. He's fighting to keep Hollywood a place where creativity and authentic storytelling come first. So, where do we go from here? It's up to us, the audience, to demand better. We need to support films and filmmakers who prioritize storytelling over social posturing. By choosing authenticity and rejecting the woke agenda, we can help steer Hollywood back to its roots, creating movies that inspire, entertain, and endure. It's time to stand up against the woke culture that's taking over Hollywood. We need more people like Reynolds who aren't afraid to speak out and demand better. If you agree, hit that like button, share this video, and join our community. Stay tuned for our next video. Thanks for watching.